Welcome to Ansarkari. We will be covering today the newspaper edition of 18th of August 2025. To begin with, the Chief Election Commissioner Ganesh Kumar demands that Rahul Gandhi should submit an affidavit in 7 days, or if he fails to do so, he should apologize to the nation. Well, this demand by the CEC fails to account the ground reality of the situation. It is not Rahul Gandhi that is on trial, it is the Election Commission. It has not been that unpopular since its inception, and public mistrust is on high. So instead of pointing fingers on others, the Election Commission should, try to try to tell the voters, try to tell the citizens that these mistakes, as pointed by the leader of the opposition, are false or don't hold ground reality, or they are not based on facts. If they are misleading, we have to prove it. Also, the Chief Election Commissioner has said that all these allegations are baseless, they are misinformation. He has said that all these 1 lakh fake voters drama is not based on any conclusive evidence. On the demand of sharing the CCTV footage by the opposition, the Election Commission has also rejected the demand on the grounds of privacy of the voters. Moving on, the center is very near to implement GST reforms in the country. The 8 years old GST, goods and services tax, has been without any change, and the center has took upon itself that there is that time. So what would constitute the reforms? So that there will be only two slabs of 5% and 18%. All the other slabs would be scrapped, but there would be also another slab of luxury and sin items constituting of luxury cars or tobacco, for example. So the PM has asked the states that they should cooperate in implementing the GST reforms, that they would benefit the poor and middle class. Moving on, the next leap forward. The article discusses India's history since independence and how far it has came. The poverty has plummeted. There is advancement in all aspects of life, from Chandrayaan to Mangalyaan. So, from the likes of our prime ministers, Lal Bahadur Shastri and Vajpayee to Modi, the motto has been Jai Jawan to Jai Jawan, and now Jai Anusandhan. Still, there is a long road for us. India may have achieved food security, but there is need for advancements in nutritional security, women empowerment, and much emphasis on sanitation. The article says that there is much more to be done in the agriculture industry, especially through the subsidies. It has iterated that studies have suggested that subsidies fail to reach 20 to 25% of intended beneficiaries, and asks for rationalizing of subsidies and increasing investment in agriculture research and development. Again, the Alaska Summit. The Alaska Summit, as any analyst would put it, was a failure, and the hastily convened summit between the Russian and American president was not able to dug up much ground, and it is for a resounding victory for Vladimir Putin, who has not made any concessions on the Ukrainian war. So the author has put forward that the meet between the presidents in Anchorage, Alaska, was hastily convened, and the meet itself is not the uh, main plethora, or much ground is not made through the meet itself, but the in the backdrop of it, how officials meet and try to concede and try to build an agenda that the topmost leaders then discuss upon. So the author has put forward that it was hastily convened, and thus there was not much to continue for the discussions, and the meet has little to nothing to show for it. So the fanfare and all the hype in the Anchorage was all for nothing, and the evident glee has not marked much for international relations and geopolitical implications. Moving on, Seole Bhaskar discusses the nuclear taboo, the global deterrence template that is being tested by ongoing conflicts. August 1945 was the year when atomic bombs were for the last time and the first time used by a country in warfare. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki still echo today. The nuclear taboo, approved by the American President Harry S. Truman, the bombings of the Japanese city hold testament the destruction and obliteration that are atomic weapons. But the nuclear taboo, it has prevailed the Cold War and many ongoing conflicts, and it has survived 80 years since the inception of nuclear weapons. But this deterrence is being challenged. Russia, then invaded Ukraine, it iterated that it has nuclear weapons and the West should not force it to use them. There has been a doctrine of mutually assured destruction between the West and Russia, and also now China, that if nuclear weapons are used, then there would be assured destruction for the whole world. So this deterrence has been held since the Cold War, and now the multipolar world. Famously, Ukraine, when the Soviet Union was dissolved in 1991, Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons to Russia in a form of in a bona fide way, but the decision has been regarded as a blunder and still bites the the Ukrainian administration. So Uday Bhaskar stresses that nuclear weapons are very destructive, and the ongoing policy and international relations should foster an era of non-proliferation and much restraint in even nuclear weapons and its clear capability of the destruction of the whole world. Moving further, the central government is planning to facilitate and standardize blood bankings and blood transfusion in veterinary care. The Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy, under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, has invited comments from experts, institutions, and the wider public on the SOP for blood transfusion and blood bank for animals in India. So the first thing is, why are these standard operating procedures needed for blood transfusions in animals in the first hand? So India, according to the livestock census conducted in 2019, is home to 536 million livestock population, and there is much need as the animals play a pivotal role in the agricultural economy, and there is a need for robust blood bank networks for veterinary care for animals. So, India lacks a national regulatory framework and standardized protocols guiding veterinary transfusions, and with structured blood banking and transfusion practices. So, another step by the center in animal welfare and overall welfare of the community and India as a whole. Moving on, the recent visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Namibia and his address to Namibia's National Assembly has showed that India has a new way to engage Africa, and it is a genuine effort in collaborating with Africa, and it has showcased itself as a voice for the global south. The gesture of Mr. Modi has suggested a deliberate effort to engage with culturally meaningful terms and approach to partnership building, and is in sharp contrast to Western engagement. In Africa, India is pursuing a quieter, adaptive approach, favoring alignment over instruction and forming issue-based coalitions in Africa, and this has shown in a deliberate three-step logic, evoking shared historical solidarities, especially the anti-colonial heritage, than through present-day pragmatic cooperation through the bilateral trade of around $800 billion and supported by a $12 billion development partnership across Africa. And lastly, investing in long-term and future-oriented ties. This has been showed by India's targeted investments and capacity building throughout Africa, including the India-Namibia Center of Excellence, and also technological transfusion between the two countries, and Namibia's recent adoption of India's Unified Payment Interface, the UPI. Also, it is a shared solidarity with both the African countries and India, and not only it is advantageous for India, but also an advantage to African countries, and especially to the sub-Saharan African country of Namibia. So it is the India's approach is in the choice of partner is very pivotal. Namibia is a political stable country. It is rich in mineral resources and a growing technological base. But also in this meet there are some windfalls, something absent, notably not many major agreements on the critical minerals. Namibia, sitting in southern part of Africa, is a very rich, mineral-rich country, and India's consideration for low carbon supply chains should have been iterated in an agreement on the critical mineral reserves. Still, the Prime Minister's visit must show that the visit was not only a symbol, but there must be pragmatic considerations and practical applications of the visit, that not only through talks and discussions or dialogue, but India is there to help Africa and will stand with it.